Namaste, welcome friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. In this series, I want to teach you a small introduction on Ayurveda. Whether you're a beginner in Ayurveda or whether you're already familiar with this topic, I promise you there will be something to learn for you. First, we're going to explore what is Ayurveda and why every human being should know at least a little bit about it. We are going to explore what are the three doshas, what is our prakriti, our unique nature, and why is that so important to know our unique individual bio, psycho, physical makeup to make the best decisions in our life, not just for our health, but even for our relationships, even for our career. Ayurveda is the science of health, it's the science of life, but it is not just about our physical health, it is actually really about every domain in our life. I'm also going to share with you some key insights about digestion, how to understand digestion, how to improve our digestion, and what are the first symptoms that our digestion is going off. Because it is not that people are suddenly falling sick. It is not that one day we wake up and like, oh, I'm sick and I have now this terrible problem. No, it is not like that. Many of my clients came to me and they said, I was fine, and then one day just suddenly this happened. It doesn't work like that. Our body gives us signs, days, weeks, months, even years in advance. And if we know Ayurveda, even just a little bit, we can recognize them. You're also going to learn in the series about Ayurvedic nutrition. It is not just about calculating calories and proteins and fats. Indeed, I must tell you now, and I will tell you more and more as we go through all of our lessons, that you have been cheated. You can read the calories on the package of a food, but it actually doesn't tell you much because every body will metabolize it differently. You can count your proteins in your diet list, but how much protein did you actually absorb? It is not just what you eat, but what you absorb. We're going to explore that when we discuss Ayurvedic nutrition. We're also going to explore dinacharya, which are daily habits and routines that can either make or break our health. There's nothing as important in living a healthy lifestyle as dinacharya. And last, in our seventh session, our seventh lesson, we're going to explore samprapti, which is the pathogenesis. It is how disease develop. Why are we getting sick? Where does it come from? Just to give you a little hint, most of our disease in the 21st century, they're preventable, they're avoidable, and they actually have the root in your stomach, in your digestion, in the food choices, in your lifestyle choices. So I'd love to teach you all of this. Let's start this journey together. Today, we're going to explore 4 topics. What Ayurveda is not. There has been a lot of commercialism, even in the realm of Ayurveda. Many things have been sold with an Ayurvedic label, but just because something has Ayurveda written on it, that doesn't mean anything. In the same way, like millions of people go to yoga classes, which actually have nothing to do with yoga. In the same way, like there's so much hocus pocus going on in the world of Vedic astrology. In the same way also in the world of Ayurveda, there has been a fair amount of misinformation. And we're going to set that clear so that you are not bewildered, either that you never again bewildered after watching this video, that you actually understand what makes something Ayurvedic. And it might not be what you think it is. Second, we're going to discuss what Ayurveda actually is. Third, we're going to speak about the origins of Ayurveda. We're going to present the origins as described in the Ayurvedic texts themselves and the description given by the sages themselves. And we're going to explore the picture as well of modern scholars and what they say about the origin of Ayurveda. And the last point we're going to discuss today is why every person on this planet should know at least a tiny bit about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is not another fad diet. It is not about following some strict rules to get like a 6-pack in 30 days or to lose weight in XYZ days. It is no quick fix. It is not a diet that we just follow for a short time to get the result and that we then throw away. No, Ayurveda very much promotes sustainable lifestyle choices that we carry on through our entire life. Whether we are diseased or whether we are healthy, we can follow Ayurveda. Because Ayurveda is meant to maintain the health of the healthy and to cure the disease of the sick. It is not just something quick and cheap that we adopt for a short time, but it is guidelines how to live a healthy and fulfilling life. Ayurveda also, it is not about just some herbs or Indian herbs in particular. You can go to many health food stores today, even outside India, and they will have written on it, this Ayurvedic tea, this Ayurvedic herb, right? Ashwagandha with this, ashwagandha with that. Recently I saw a commercial that promoted some painkiller now mixed with ashwagandha, so it had the Ayurvedic punch, right? But this is actually not Ayurveda, because Ayurveda, it is unique for every individual. There is not one herb, not because a herb is coming from India, it doesn't automatically make it Ayurvedic. We have to understand what is the quality of the herb, what is the quality of the person, what is the time they're taking it, what is the amount they're taking. All these things come together and we have to consider that holistically. We cannot just remove one part of it and then brand it and make it, oh, this is Ayurvedic. Just because we're taking some teas that have Ayurveda written on it, it doesn't mean that we're living an Ayurvedic lifestyle. So it's very important to understand this. And especially in our modern world in the 21st century, which is extremely commercial, people try to make money out of everything, out of education, out of food, out of medicine. And this has hurt Ayurveda a little bit. Because then maybe some people will take this painkiller with ashwagandha and then it doesn't work because it was never meant for them. And they say, oh, I've tried Ayurveda, it's not for me. So Ayurveda is not about just some herbs. It is not even just about Indian herbs. You can pick up any book and it will have this list. A lot of the classics speak about Indian herbs. And the reason they speak about Indian herbs is because the sages lived in India thousands of years ago. So therefore all the herbs they had access to were herbs predominantly from India. In our modern world, we can take the principles of Ayurveda and we can apply them to anything. Potatoes are not native to India, but we can apply Ayurveda to potatoes. Chili is not native to India, got introduced by the Spanish, but we can understand chilies Ayurvedically. We can look at Western allopathic medicine and we can understand it through an Ayurvedic lens, because everything in this world has action and qualities, and Ayurveda is just about understanding what is the action of this item, what is the quality of this item, what is my qualities, does this bring balance or does this bring imbalance? Actually, it's as simple as that. And third, Ayurveda, it is not Indian medicine. I offer my respects to all the people from Bharat, from India. I think it is an amazing country. But we want to understand that Ayurveda, it is a universal science of life. It is not just for people of one race or one subcontinent, but it is a principle that can be applied to all people of all races at all times. And there's a great need for this because a lot of our Western diet trends, our Western nutrition, our Western understanding of medicine, it is failing us a little bit. I was recently reading about some modern top-notch doctors and they were publishing that there is an increase of diabetes in the world, like an 80% increase, like in 1 decade, such a huge decrease, and they don't know why. I'm like, really? You don't know why? Just look at all the processed foods, all the fast food, all the sugar, all the nasties and chemicals in it. Diet has changed completely. Of course, more people are getting sick. But unless we have a holistic lens, we cannot completely understand it. And particularly in our modern world, it's a big problem. I've worked with clients before. They had a big team that was helping them. They had nutritionists on their side, psychologists, neurologists, behavioral therapists, etc., etc. But even though they had so many people work with them, even though the government spent thousands of dollars to help them, even though private health insurance was spending so much money to help them, still many people were not able to cure themselves because our modern understanding, it is so heavily fragmented. I will teach you more about that later. Therefore, there's a great need for Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is not just Indian medicine, it's not just some primitive science. Because of colonialism, we have suppressed India. The British people have heavily suppressed India and they have put down their culture. And therefore, many countries, I live in Australia, even in Australia, Ayurveda is considered a pseudoscience. It is not considered real medical science. How is that possible? A science that is followed by over 1 billion people on the planet. I'm very passionate about this topic, but let me tell you now, what is Ayurveda actually? Ayurveda is the conjunction of 2 Sanskrit terms. Ayur means life. It also means health. And Veda means knowledge, wisdom, or science. Therefore, Ayurveda is the science of life. It is the knowledge of health. It is the science in how to live a vibrant life. Indeed, there are two primary goals of Ayurveda, which are described by Charaka in the Charaka Samhita, which is one of the oldest surviving Ayurvedic texts. It is dated to more than 5,000 years ago, even though it is a recompilation of a much older text, which is the Agnivesh-tantra, which got written approximately 10 or 15,000 years earlier. There are two goals. The first goal is to preserve the health of the healthy. Therefore, Ayurveda is a preventative health science. And the second goal is to cure disease. Therefore, Ayurveda is also a therapeutic science. There's this wonderful verse in the Charaka Samhita. Dharma, Artha, Kāma, Mokṣa nam arogyam mulam uttamam rogastasya pahartara shreyaso chivitasya cha. Health is the supreme foundation of Dharma, Artha, Kāma and Mokṣa. Disease deprives a person of health, well-being and life itself. Health is the supreme foundation of Dharma. Dharma means our purpose in life. Dharma means virtue. Dharma comes from the word rudra, which means to hold up. So Dharma is that which holds us up. The Dharma of fire is to be hot. The Dharma of water is to flow. The Dharma of trees, I mean, they have so much. One Dharma is to provide beautiful fruits, to provide shade in summer, and to provide oxygen, for humans to live. So what is the Dharma of a human? The Dharma of human, it's to develop ourselves, to realize our true nature, our spiritual nature, non-physical nature. We are different from this body. This body changes, but our real self, it never changes. And human life is meant for this realization. This is the goal of yoga. This is the goal of Vedanta. This is the goal of human life, and especially the ancient Indian civilization, ancient Vedic civilization. So this goal of Dharma, it cannot be achieved without health. It is very difficult to practice, to meditate, if our health is not good. Health is the foundation of Artha. We cannot accumulate wealth, money. We need some amount of possessions. We need a roof over our head. We need clothes. We need food. Without health, it's very difficult to achieve these things. Kāma. Kāma means enjoyment. We all need a certain level of enjoyment, some more than others. Enjoyment means family life, friends, partners, children. It's enjoyable. But how much can we enjoy without health? And finally, this desire for moksha, because after we followed our Dharma, we lived according to our purpose, we did our work, we did our duty, we accumulated money, we enjoyed with friends and family. Eventually, we realized that all of that cannot completely satisfy the self. And therefore, this desire for freedom, for something greater. Because any person who is born, they will also have to leave. And on the way, there's old age, there's disease. Ayurveda can help us to prevent disease and live a happy life until the end, yet we have to go. So therefore, naturally comes this question of freedom, of liberation, of moksha. So none of these four goals can be achieved easily without health. Health is such a great asset in helping us achieve these matters, and therefore we have Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a complete medical science. We often speak of the Ashtanga Ayurveda, the 8 limbs of Ayurveda. It is not the same concept like the 8 limbs of yoga. We speak about Ashtanga yoga. But the 8 limbs of Ayurveda, they're 8 distinct disciplines or categories of specialization in the healing journey. We have Kaya Chikitsa, which is the equivalent to internal medicines. Bala Chikitsa, which is similar to pediatrics. We have Graha or Bhuta Chikitsa, which is psychiatry. Grahas means the planets. We have some other lessons on Jyotish and Vedic astrology. You're welcome to watch them if you haven't done that already. And the planets, they control us, they control our mind, they eclipse our mind, they give us all types of desires, and they can create challenges. They can indicate problems with bhutas. Bhutas, they're ghosts and evil spirits, and they can make us crazy. Chikitsa means therapy. So Graha Chikitsa or Bhuta Chikitsa deals with this realm of psychiatry. In our Western world, we don't believe in ghosts and spirits. But if you clearly study modern psychiatry, modern psychology, you realize you do. And you speak of them in metaphors. For example, if a person has depression, then we speak about the black dog. They're walking, a black dog, and a black dog follows them wherever they are. No one else can see the black dog, only they can see the black dog. And this is a very similar concept to Bhutas, to ghosts who follow us and who give us a hard time. Modern psychiatric understanding, it would be so much benefited from understanding and learning Ayurveda, learning about the effects of the planets and other beings and other energies. We have Shalakya Tantra, which is ears, nose and throat. We have Shalya Tantra, which is surgery. There was this ancient sage Sushruta. He wrote the Sushruta Samhita, which has great details about surgery in the realm of Ayurveda. And this was 2,000 years before the father of modern Western allopathic medicine, Hippocrates. And even Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, he believed in 4 humors in Greece, in Hellenistic medicine, in ancient medicine. He believed in 4 humors, that there's 4 different types of people and we can't treat everybody the same. He understood it. But somehow in our modern development, this understanding got lost, and now we try to treat everyone the same, and we do random control test tries to test the medicine, thinking that the medicine is better if it just works better randomly on everyone, completely missing the point that we're all different. Then we have Agara Tantra, which is toxicology. There's Rasayana Tantra, which is the science of rejuvenation. And last we have Vajikarana, which is, we could call it aphrodisiac therapy. But the understanding of aphrodisiacs in Ayurveda is very different to the understanding of aphrodisiacs in modernity. Many times you would see, maybe you get an advertisement for Shilajit and telling you how it promotes testosterone and sexual stamina in men. This is not Ayurveda, by the way. Shilajit is an herb in India and it can be used in an Ayurvedic way, but it can also be misused. And if it is misused, it can actually not give health, but it can give disease. I had many clients, particularly women who took too much Shilajit. It was not good for them. It upset their hormones. And then if a herb is not used in the right way, then it is not Ayurvedic, because there's no knowledge of life, there's no knowledge of health involved. Vajikarana actually is the science of how can we restore and maintain and protect sexual health to ensure that there is good reproduction. So there's healthy prodigy, healthy children. Sex is a very sacred act in Ayurveda. It can lead to profound bliss if performed in the right way. And it can also lead to good prodigy, which I think there's a great need for in our modern world. That is Ayurveda. Let me tell you about the origin story of Ayurveda. There's a lot of different opinions about it, and I don't want to tell you things that are not true. Yet, I would like to give you the bigger picture. So I'm just going to briefly share with you some modern opinions about Ayurveda, and then I will tell you about the origin stories as described in the Vedas themselves, as described in some of the ancient classics. Some modern scholars say that Ayurveda is approximately 5,000 years old and originated in India by sages who somehow or other, just had a lot of insight and they wrote some great books. And we have sages like Sushruta, Charaka, who put that into writing. And so it's maybe 5,000 years old, 8,000 years old, but not much older than that. That is fine. That is a valid claim. Charaka himself, he writes in his Samhita that this knowledge of Ayurveda is eternal. And like all the knowledge of all the Vedic sciences, it had been passed down through generations. It had been passed down through parampara, the cyclic succession, going back to Brahmaji himself, who is the first living being, who is the creator of this universe. There is a beautiful story in Charaka Samhita, how the sages, approximately 5,000 years ago, assembled in the Himalayan mountains because they had a great concern. The sages, they observed that human beings are living shorter and shorter lives, and that many more diseases are appearing than in the past. That was 5,000 years ago. What to speak about now? The sages would be shocked. And what do the sages do when they have a problem and they see that there's a problem? They come together and they speak about it, they reflect about it. They don't just turn on the television and watch the latest show or anything like that. No, they come together and they discuss, they meditate, they reflect. So a lot of the great sages like Narada and Vyasa and Devala, they all met in the Himalayas and discussed this matter. Not being able to come to a final conclusion, the sages began meditating, asking for an answer. And one of these sages, his name was Bharadvaj, in his meditation, he received this knowledge of Ayurveda. He received it from Indra, who received it from the Ashwini Kumaras, who received it from Prajapati Daksha, who received it from Brahma. So the sage Bharadvaj, in his meditation, we could say he downloaded, he channeled this great science. He downloaded it. And then he shared this knowledge to his disciples. Among them was Purnavasu Atreya, who then shared it to 6 of his disciples. And one of those 6 was Parashara, who wrote our astrology books, who also wrote some great books on Ayurveda. But chief among those 6 was Agnivesh, who then wrote the Agnivesh Tantra. Unfortunately, this book is no longer available. Later in the lineage, Charaka, he recompiled his text in what we today have as the Charaka Samhita. So we see that this knowledge of Ayurveda is coming in a lineage. It has an amazing history of the sages meditating in Himalayas out of compassion. And it is quite magical. Like the origin story of Ayurveda is magical, but also the knowledge in Ayurveda is very magical. Because if we read the classics, which are at least 5,000 years old, we can see such a depth of knowledge. We can hear about even the embryo developing in the body and the different months of pregnancy. How could the sages have known this? How is it possible? After the Charaka Samhita, we have the Ashtanga Hridayam by Vagbhata. And in the beginning of his Ashtanga Hridayam, which is it's such a master book on Ayurveda, he says that this book is for the less intelligent people. Why does he say that? People in India, they do their bachelor's in Ashtanga Hridayam, their masters, even in their PhD, they still quote Ashtanga Hridayam. Because what the sages considered less intelligent, it was actually far more advanced than anything we hear today. If you feel challenged by this, please hold on, try to understand what the sages are offering us. What is that wisdom in Ayurveda? What impact it can have on our health? I promise you, you will understand and even agree with the fact that the knowledge we have offered in Ayurveda, it is mystical, it is magical, this insight in health. Even top doctors today are missing it, and that is why there's a lot of disease in the world, especially in the last decade. It's just increasing and increasing, so many unnecessary disease. This brings me to the point why you should learn Ayurveda, why you should learn at least a little bit of Ayurveda for your own sake. Modern medicine, it is very good in emergency interventions. If there is a crisis and we need a quick fix and a quick solution, if we want to manage symptoms, modern medicine is amazing. Sometimes this is really important. But if it comes about long-term, sustainable lifestyle solutions, it does not have so much to offer. Ayurveda tries to address the root cause of an imbalance. That is not about symptom management, but about addressing the root cause. In our modern society, there is a big need for Ayurveda. There's so much confusion about food, about diet, about what is healthy. We have keto, vegan, vegetarian, fruitarian, so much, so many diets, eat according to your blood type, etc., etc. So much variety, so much to choose from. But there's a lack for unifying system of understanding health, about understanding cause and effect, and about understanding our individuality. and how there is no one diet that will fix everyone, because we're all unique individuals. A lot of our modern medicine and even modern diet trends are based on the biochemical model of health, which often reduces us just to biology and chemicals, which is a very simplistic model of life. We try to isolate vitamins, we try to isolate hormones and enzymes and try to understand the body as if it is a machine, and we think by just picking up the parts and nuts and bolts we can fix it. But let me tell you one thing, human beings were not machines. We were never meant to be machines. We are organisms. We are unlimitedly complex. Even something apparently as simple as the process of digestion, it is not understood. It is so complex. We have hydrochloric acid, we have pepsins, then different digestive enzymes, different hormones that can alter it. It is increasingly complicated. Therefore, Ayurveda does not try to understand the body just by isolating its parts, but it tries to understand it in terms of qualities and actions and the groupings of different qualities. For example, our digestion is connected to the quality of heat, of fire. We can see fire in nature transforms everything. It transforms resources and it creates energy. In the same way also we have this quality of fire in our stomach. Even though there is no literal flame, we have the qualities of fire. Now this fire in the body, it is never alone. It is actually mixed with water. And therefore we have acid in our stomach, right? Hydrochloric acid. There's fire and water. And therefore in the body, we actually don't speak of fire separately. We speak often of pitta dosha, which is fire and water. I will tell you about all of this in our next lesson. But this model of understanding, this grouping of fire, often it can be so much more meaningful, even though apparently simple, than just thinking of all the different chemicals in our body. For example, I've seen many GPs, many doctors who have studied medicine for at least 7 years, you would expect. And they also sometimes get sick, right? I've dealt with them before. And sometimes they have sluggish digestion or mood disorders, etc. And sometimes it can be such simple things as having a breakfast with oats and cold milk, and then an orange juice or a cut fresh apple with it. You can study medicine for 7 years and you'll not learn that this is bad food combining. But if you understand Ayurveda, yes, it makes so much sense. Milk is cold. An apple also, if it's uncooked, it is raw, it is colder. Milk does not digest well with many other fruits, particularly with sour fruits. So eating both together, it is a bad food combination. It is of course going to cause indigestion. It's going to imbalance this principle of heat and it's going to make us sick. So we can see, number one, a lot of our modern healthcare is not addressing the need for sustainable lifestyle choices. Number two, there's a lot of confusion about which diet to take. There's a complete lack of an understanding of our individual nature and our internal qualities and how the qualities of the environment influence us. And lastly, modern society is still following a model, a biochemical model, which is extremely reductionistic and which is somewhat missing the point. So therefore, for your own sake, for your friends and family, if you can learn Ayurveda just a little bit, just as much even as I'm teaching you in this entire course, that will help you to preserve your health for so much longer and to avoid at least 80% or 90% of disease. It will help you to save thousands of dollars of medical bills, by the way. So please try this out. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Have you experienced Ayurveda before? I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Bye.